guys remember last year we did our Christmas photos with my cousin, and she ended up inviting us again to meet Santa and take pictures with Santa with Hudson.
I'm very excited to meet Santa.
If only our parents would hear this, because his parents and my mom think that we treat Hudson like a kid.
We do.
This is just like the funniest little activity, but I think it's perfect for Vlogmas and for memories. So
for getting in the Christmas spirit, I've never met Santa Claus, so I'm really excited to meet the man and
I've
shake
met
his
him
hand
many times.
And ask him some logistical questions about fireplaces and gift giving.
Anyways,
a lot of things we have to cover up.
We're off.
He's like, who's crying?
Too long of a day. You ready, boy?
Hello, Hudson. Come here. Hello. Are you afraid of Santa?
Are you? No way, Hudson.
Honey, he's afraid.
Stop. No way.
He's never like this. Hudson, come
Hudson,
on.
no
He's
way.
afraid of Santa. What's going on?
That's so funny. He usually is like...
Just could not be more excited to see people. Hello there. Hello.
Why? This is so weird.
You? This is not you, buddy.
Bobby, come on.
You need to be the best client today.
Never in my life. Where do you want us?
All right, sweetheart. I want Hudson here, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is...
And then Eric on this side, and Mrs. Claus on right in between.
Over here. Hudson, come over here.
Come here, sit. I'm gonna shake you like a leaf.
Yeah.
Why are you so afraid?
I think it's a good color. I don't know. Hudson, come over here. Bobby.
Maybe it's overwhelming, the colors?
This is what we're gonna do. Come here.
Maybe I'll leave, or was one less person?
I don't think so.
This is the funniest.
Sit right
Stay.
here. You're gonna be
Stay.
happy. Okay, stay.
Stay.
And you're gonna be happy.
Stay.
Stay. Stay.
Hi, Papa. Where's the baby?
Oh, look at him now.
Stay. Good boy. Stay.
Stay. Stay. Stay.
It's like looking back.
This is the funniest thing.
Hudson! There we go.
Good, stay.
That's
Good
it.
boy. Stay.
All right, our child met Santa.
That was the funniest experience ever. Like, he
There's
was...
a line of kids going to meet this, like,
I know.
literally
Like, super excited to
man
meet Santa.
and woman dressed like Santa Claus and
But
Mrs. Claus.
They look and sound so much like him.
They were very sweet.
That
We
was
had
so
some
cool.
adult conversations with them. Like, they were like,
Yeah.
hey, okay.
This is the first time ever that Hudson is, like, this afraid.
He was terrified. Like, he wouldn't go anywhere near
Hudson,
him.
you didn't like Santa?
Eventually, he, like, got him in and was petting him.
That was so funny, but we had a lot of fun.
It was a
I
good
think
time.
the pictures were cute. I ended up getting this Dunkin' Small Hot Latte, 2 caramel swirls. Oh, and they didn't add the cinnamon. I knew it didn't taste like cinnamon.
I was gonna say, yeah, I have a black cold brew.
No sugar.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay.
Okay, today we're gonna be making my famous lasagna. So I'm gonna try to show you how I do it. I'm sure it's not traditional and completely incorrect to any authentic Italians watching, but this is the way I make it and we like it, so. It's everything you need.
He honestly makes the best lasagna.
Lasagna pasta, we found this brand, it's called Deciso.
We're trying to find organic lasagna pasta and no shot.
The other kind
at the regular supermarket.
It makes me like bloated, and every time I eat it, it makes me
Barilla.
feel sick. So we're gonna try this one and we'll see if it works. Okay, to start we have our lasagna pasta. We have a loaf of bread. We're gonna make garlic bread with this. Marinera sauce, we're trying the carbone one this time. Never tried it, hopefully it's good. Salted butter, spicy Italian sausage, grass-fed ground beef, tomato paste, we have white onions here as well, and we're gonna use shallots too. And then we have large garlic, it's called elephant garlic, so I did try that, and then our cheeses. So we have Parmesan, we have mozzarella, fresh mozzarella, and then we have ricotta. And then lastly, we have basil and some chives. Okay, so the first thing I like to do, I've made this mistake before where you get along in the process and all of a sudden you need to add like chopped onions or something that should have been cut before, and then I panic and try and do it really quickly. So I found the best way to do it is just to prepare everything so that when you start cooking, everything's ready. And you can just add it as it goes. So we're gonna start by prepping our onions, just dicing those up. We'll do the shallots and the garlic as well, and then we'll start cooking down some of our protein. Also, when we're cutting all these up and getting everything ready, just make sure you prep your oven for 400 degrees. That way, when it's ready to go in the oven's hot and you can just put it right in.
I think my job should be cutting the bread.
Bread is gonna be last. You can do that while it's in the oven. It needs to cook for like 30 minutes. Look at the size of that garlic.
Wait, I think you need to show people the size of a regular. That is insane.
Okay, so there is our diced up garlic. Onions and shallot. That's about one medium-sized white onion, a few cloves of that giant garlic, and 2 shallots. Now we're gonna be cooking our meat sauce. So I have my stainless steel pan here, wooden spatula. I have 3 pounds of ground beef. And then I'll probably use a few of these spicy sausage links. It's a lot of protein. So I'm gonna start by just heating this up. This is 85-15 beef, so there's some natural fat in there, so you don't really need too much olive oil. So I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil in the pan, put the beef in, and let the fat render out. We're gonna be cooking this on like a medium-high heat, so like a 6. Okay, so I added a little bit of olive oil to the stainless steel pan, and you wanna heat it up at roughly like a 6, kind of medium-high heat. And you'll notice it's ready once you move it, and you can see the oil kind of shimmer on the top of the pan. So now that that's nice and warm, we're gonna add our beef. You just wanna break it up. So this takes a while, but you just wanna make sure that there's enough beef touching the actual hot surface of the pan. To be honest, I'm probably overcrowding this pan. We're making a lot because we wanna keep it in the fridge, but you could get away with using a pound or 2 as opposed to 3 of beef if you're making this for less people. You wanna just break this up. Again, when this renders out, it loses moisture and it will lose a lot of volume, so it'll get smaller. So we'll have more room in the pan. Okay, now I'm gonna add roughly 2 of these. You could get away with adding more if you had less beef, but just because I have so much beef, I don't want there to be too much meat. So I take my knife, I slide it down the casing of the sausage. That way you can remove the extra part and treat this the same way you would ground beef, right? Just break it up. Mix it in there, kind of get it all mixed in. Again, this is probably too much in one pan, but it'll all break down and we'll get some of that space back once the moisture cooks out. Plus, this is 80-15 beef, so it's 80% protein or meat and then 15% fat. It's 85-15, so decent amount of fat. A lot of that will burn off. We can strain it, but it gives the beef a crispy flavor.
Babe. That is like
it's important what kind of beef you use.
Fun fact.
It's not. You didn't know that?
No.
There's 90-10, there's 85-15, there's 80-20, there's all different kinds of beef. For seasoning, I like to keep it simple, just the same way you would season a nice steak. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, right? I do add a little bit of this just because I like it spicy, the red chili flakes. But it's pretty simple, just some fresh ground pepper. Then we're gonna add some garlic powder. Adobo if you prefer, it's pretty similar. Salt, don't over salt it. The cheese has a lot of salt, and the pasta water we're gonna salt as well, so if you over salt your meat, it's gonna be too salty. Then we're gonna also add some fresh ground red chili flakes. Remember, you'll also get some spice from the sausage, so don't add too much. Okay, now we're gonna need like 30 minutes. So while our beef is rendering out, I'm gonna start our pasta water because that takes a little while to boil. Just add a little bit of fresh salt and a little bit of olive oil. And we're gonna turn that on to a heavy boil. we'll get to it. Okay, so our beef is pretty much seared here. What I'm looking for is when the bottom, like those little bits start to stick to the pan at the bottom. That's where all the flavor comes from, and I'm gonna pick all of that up when I saute my onions. So we're gonna take all this, and we're going to pour it all into a pan. And if you see all that stuff at the bottom, that's really the best part. So that's when you know you're done. So now we're gonna turn our heat down, about a 4. Let's get this out of the way, let that cool. Now we're gonna start. The order here is very important. You wanna start with your onions, then your shallots, then your garlic, then we're gonna deglaze with a little red wine.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Start with the onion. We're gonna let that cook for a little bit. And onions have a lot of moisture in them. They have a lot of water. So what that will do is once that water releases, that'll pick up some of this good gritty piece, like bits at the bottom. I forget the name for it.
The juices, but
No,
I know.
it's like fond or something.
Oh.
It's gonna cook down a little bit. We'll get a little bit of that moisture, and then we'll pick up all that good flavor in the bottom of the pan as that cooks down. So again, you wanna take a wooden spoon. If you use metal, it'll scratch your stainless steel pan. You start kind of picking up all those little bits. Nathalie likes her onions very cooked through, so we're gonna let this cook down for a while. You want your onions to be close to translucent, meaning see-through. Once they're fully see-through, they're done cooking. So once they're close, we're gonna add our shallots, cook that for a few minutes, and then the garlic. The garlic really only takes 2 minutes. Once you can smell it, it's done. We're also gonna add a little bit of tomato paste at the end just for a little bit of flavor. Okay, so our onions are pretty much translucent. Now we're gonna add our shallots. I'm gonna cook these for a minute or 2, and then we'll add our garlic. Mix them in. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes. Shallots are cooked down. We're gonna add our garlic again. This takes literally about a minute. So my red wine is handy. Once you can smell these, I'm going to add the red wine and cook it down. Okay, now I'm gonna add my red wine and deglaze. You really don't need a lot of this. And honestly, you should be using kind of a lower grade wine. We just had a bottle of this open, so we're using this. So as before, I'm just gonna go through, find all those little brown bits on the bottom, and use that liquid from the wine to kind of scrape those up. And eventually what's gonna happen is that wine is gonna reduce, meaning all the moisture is gonna cook out, and you're just gonna be left with that good flavor. All the alcohol is gonna burn off as well. So the way you'll know this is done is if you can scrape your spatula through it and see how all that liquid rushed in to fill that gap? Once you've cooked it down fully, it'll be solid enough where you can run your spatula through the center and none of that liquid will fill that gap. And that's a general tool for any reductions that you're doing, whether it be stock, really anything. That's kind of when you know that the liquid has boiled off enough where you can actually, you know, be done. And again, I'm cooking this at a low to medium, like a 4 out of 10. Okay, we're almost there. So look, kind of our center here, if I draw a line, see that water's still kind of, that liquid's still meddling in there, because we're not done just yet, but you can see it's reducing nicely because all those little bubbles, that means everything's starting to emulsify and all of the alcohol and liquid is starting to boil and burn off. Okay, so you'll notice here, no liquid is moving into that gap, right? So the wine is fully reduced, we're good to go. We're going to add our beef back, mix everything together, and then we're gonna add our sauce and reduce that. So here you go, this is all the ground beef that we cooked earlier. Okay, so our onions are mixed in with our beef. Now we're going to add our tomato sauce. Essentially, we're doing the same thing that we did with the wine with this. We're gonna mix it in, and then we're really just trying to reduce it so that we lose some of that liquid. And that makes a not runny and gross lasagna. Because if you keep all that liquid in, there's already enough fat from all the cheese and the beef. We're gonna mix it all together. Again, probably too small of a pot, but we're doing what we can with what we have.
Side note, we do have another pot. He just didn't want to use it.
Well,
It's okay.
We do use 2 pots. So again, the goal here is just to mix everything together and then cook some of that liquid out of this mixture. And that'll take probably about 10 minutes. Again, medium low heat, about a 4. But what you do there is you don't really want the water, you want the flavor. And if you cook it and you let it kind of boil off the same way that we did with the wine, you're left with just the flavor. and you lose all that liquid that really doesn't serve any purpose.
I have to say, the real Italians are probably like...
Not giving me props. They're probably like, get you fuck on top of the sauce! So I take some fresh basil here, and I like to just roll it up so that it's super tight. That way, I can cut it with the kitchen shears easily, just like this, right? So that way you get really nice, finely chopped basil. I use the same method whenever I make tacos for like cilantro or green onion, and it works really well. And I'm also going to add a pinch of Dominican oregano for my darling wife. So just pinch it up.
Ooh, that's a lot. That's not pinched. Oh my god. You're supposed to grain it up.
You know how much I use when I fucking cook? So at the end, while this is reducing, I like to add just a little more crushed red pepper just because I like a little spice, and there's a lot of salt already in the tomato sauce. I added a good amount of pepper, so you don't really need any other seasonings. This is really the only thing I like to add at the end. The tomato sauce has a lot of salt in it already, so you don't need to add salt. And I added a good amount of pepper and garlic powder earlier, so really this is the only thing that I like to add. And just enough to kind of give it an extra little kick. So if you see here, there's a bunch of little pockets of liquid at the top of the sauce. That's exactly what we're looking for. That means that all the water is rising up to the top and it's evaporating and boiling off. So what we really want to do is just keep moving this, because if you don't, all the sauce that's on the bottom part of the pan that's touching the actual hot part of the pan will start to burn. So just keep moving it around, making sure that you are consistent, and all of that water will keep going to the top, and you'll be left with a nice thick meat sauce that we will layer in with our lasagna. Our sauce is fully reduced. You'll notice after a few of those kind of like stirs, once the liquid starts to pool at the top, you don't really get much of that anymore. So I think all the water is reduced out. It's nice and thick now, so it's really just that tomato concentrate and the beef and the pork and really everything else, the onions and everything else we added in here. So to stop this from cooking and to make sure that it's separated so that I can use it to build my sauce, I'm going to bring over our stainless steel bowl.
By the way, fun fact, but Eric actually stole this from my uncle.
Did I? Oh yeah, he brought it from the chicken legs, that's right. Shout out.
Diavertico.
Diavertico. That's our meat sauce, right? So we're gonna use that to layer in. So we're gonna start cooking our lasagna sheets. These are unique in terms of pasta. Usually when you put pasta in, there's not as much surface area, so it doesn't stick to itself, but when you put multiple of these in, and you put them close to each other, the starch gets sticky once you cook it, and all of the sheets stick together. So what I like to do is I'll put them in the pot of boiling water, fish them out with tongs once they're good and nice and well cooked. I'll put them into cold water to kind of stop the cooking process, and then I'll put them into a sheet pan or some sort of Pyrex dish, add a little bit of oil and kind of mix them up together so that they don't stick together. That way I can apply them once we're building our lasagna cleanly and they're not all, you know, stuck into one big pasta mess. So we're going to start. Also, with traditional pasta, you don't need to add oil to the water. I added oil just because I don't like it to all stick together. I don't know if it really works. I don't know if it helps much. I've always done it, but that's kind of up to you guys to decide if you want to do it. So really just start layering these in. You really do kind of want nice clean sheets just because it builds a nice layer. So feed them in, keep them all kind of at odds. They only cook for 5 minutes, so you could almost do like 2 different batches. I'm going to cook 3 of these boxes.
5 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so now we're gonna start pulling our sheets out, getting them in that cold water to stop the cooking process.
Good evening, Nathalie. 5 minutes, starting now.
So start by just rubbing a stick of butter on the bottom. That prevents all that lasagna pasta from sticking. Like Crisco, but I don't like to use Crisco because it's like a vegetable oil and it's... So we start with a layer of the pasta, then we do the meat, then I spoon a little bit of this ricotta on, and then I layer off some mozzarella, and then repeat. A little bit of parm shaved in there as well. Oh, and actually, I'm gonna mix all the ricotta in with the beef, so I don't have to do an extra step. So now we're gonna cover it with tin foil. We're gonna cook it for 30 minutes at 400 degrees in the oven. The last 15 minutes, we're gonna remove the tin foil, let it cook without anything on top, and that will give it a nice crispy top.
What a feeling, now it's time for Christmas. And Christmas is my favorite time of year. It's beginning to look like all my wishes are coming true. That's why I cheer. I've been busy decking the halls. I've been kind to big and small. And now it's time to have a merry holiday. What a feeling when it's time for Christmas. Let's sing a carol and we'll bring it here. I guess that spring and summer, they're all fine. But I've been waiting.